Well, the San Francisco 49ers just made an interesting move that I can't wait to tell you about in this video. It's a risk-reward kind of move, and for the individual, it could be a make it or break it for his career. I'm going to tell you all about that in just a second. If you're new here, I make daily 49ers content. My name is Nate. Please consider subscribing if you're interested in that kind of content. But my goodness, the San Francisco 49ers, they have backed RB5 Patrick Taylor Jr. to be the guy against the Miami Dolphins. Patrick Taylor Jr. is supposed to start. He's expected to start. He was asked about it and interviewed about it. He's excited about the opportunity, and really fascinating how this is all shaping up and the whole storyline around Patrick Taylor Jr. and the fact that he's getting his shot. Undrafted free agent out of Memphis. The Patrick Taylor played his best football back in 2018, ran for over 1,000 yards, averaging 5.4 yards per carry, rushing for 16 TDs that season. He got injured the year after that. Later, was just asked this week about how, or I think it was yesterday, how he's feeling about that, the kind of most challenging part of playing football, and he kind of went back to that college injury and how that affected his trajectory, of course. Then you add to that, he got his shot at Green Bay, and it didn't really happen for him there. He got a few shots at Green Bay, actually, and unfortunately, he never really made it work. This might be the young man's best shot ever in the NFL, and it could be his last big shot if he doesn't take full advantage of it. This is his best shot, but it's going to come against a decent run defense, I believe, an underrated run defense. The 49ers are backing this guy over the younger talent that is also on the roster, the other guys there. This is your veteran, practice squad, usually kind of guy who you're kind of keeping around. Was going to be Patrick Taylor Jr., was going to be Matt Breida, kind of as the season was kind of about to unfold, and it ended up being Patrick Taylor Jr., so he's getting the shot. He's getting his opportunity to go in there and make a name for himself, and this could be his big one. I really wanted to see Izzy Abanikanda, but we're not going to see him, it looks like. So, unfortunately for him and for us, would have really liked to see him. But you know what? I like what I was starting to see from Patrick Taylor Jr., and we're going to see what he's got, what he's made of. He's going to get a lot of reps, and so he's going to get his shot. This offseason, it's worth noting, by the way, he was told to really focus on route running. So that was kind of a thing that he was focusing on. So I'm going to be really interested to see what he does when he does not get the handoff, what it looks like in play action, what it looks like in those little slot passes that we started seeing Isaac Guerrero getting the last couple of weeks. So lots of interesting things there. But I mentioned to you guys that I feel like the run defense for Miami is underrated. I really believe that. They have allowed the 7th fewest rushing yards despite having several games without Tua where they were dealing with a lot of rushes at that time. They allow the 7th fewest rushes for first downs in the NFL this season. And I think it's safe to say that this game is going to come down to a team effort. It's going to be won by a full team. It's going to take a defense that will take advantage of this underperforming offense. It's going to be our offense humming and getting after a defense that rates number 8 in yards allowed through the air and number 6 in fewest TDs through the air. So this is a solid defense. They're higher rated than it probably feels like. They're better than you probably want to think. Kyle Shanahan rated them in an interview recently as a top 5 defense. So as far as I'm concerned, I would suggest that the 49ers are going to need to get things together. And that's why I put on there 4 quarters, because as I'm buying some time, as I forgot, I got to get my audio up over here. But that's why I said 4 quarters, because I think it's really critical that wrong one there. I think it's really critical what Fred Warner's always saying in his pregame speeches, right? His pregame speeches, he's always talking about how important it is that the 49ers play 4 quarters. And I've been telling you guys all along that it's not just the 4 quarters. It's 4 quarters and 3 phases. The 49ers have not had that 4 quarters, 3 phases that we need. And we have we saw it many times last season. And I think that's where we are weak right now. And we're going to need to see it against this defense. I wanted to get to something that Kyle Shanahan said that I thought was really interesting. I should also mention who's going to be out there on the field trying to make this full team performance, because we have active promotions for linebacker Jalen Graham And we also have Austin Pleasance getting his first 49ers uniform on. So that'll be interesting to see there. Sebastian Gutierrez was waived. So that's an interesting move there. They've liked a lot of what they've seen out of him. And then edge rusher Alex Barrett and Keyshawn Vaughn get the temporary practice squad promotions as well. So that's the team that you're going to be looking at. Oh, in addition to that, it looks like Nick Bosa and Dre Greenlaw will be good to go. Dre Greenlaw, of course, said early this week he was going to be good to go, but Nick Bosa looks like he's also going to be able to go, so that's good. You definitely want to see that. We definitely need it, and you can get after this offensive line. So Nick Bosa, I'm expecting to have a huge impact. That will be massive. But Kyle Shanahan was talking about what it's going to take on NBC Sports. He was talking about what it's going to take in order to finish this season out the way that they should. So I want to give you a listen. Take a listen to what Kyle said. I think this is absolutely fascinating.
Well, I mean, and we all know that. I mean, I know that we're not where the fans want us to be, and I hope the fans understand that we know that we're not where we want to be. We have high expectations going into every year, and we really believed we'd be able to battle through some things and be able to pull this off and get in that tournament. And we realized after losing that last game it's probably not going to happen. But nothing changes with me with how we finish this. I think everything's connected together. I mean, how you live your life, what you do, I think always leads to the next day. And there's no way we're just looking at these next 3 games as, hey, let's experiment with this or that or try to play a young guy. Like, we don't work that way. Like, it's important to us to play the best football that we can. I thought we had some signs last week. We did that on defense. I thought we took a big step back on offense. However, the week before, I thought we had a big one on offense. So we haven't fully been able to put it together, and I plan on us doing it for these 3 games. I want to see the character of our team, how guys are when they aren't playing for playoffs and things like that, which, you know, we're not used to that over these last few years. But this is football, and you either love it or you don't. You either understand it's your job or you don't. And the people who love it, they understand that they do this for a living, and they got to perform to a certain standard. Those are the type of guys that make the right teams, and those are the type of guys that are on our team now, and then we're going to have a good idea on who to build our team with next year.
Okay, there's so much there to unpack. My goodness, from Kyle right there. So starting with his mention of not wanting to you're not going to be like changing things up and throwing rookies in and pulling veterans out and none of that kind of stuff. So you're not going to see any wild stuff or tricky stuff. You're going to see the 49ers going out there and playing their best football, putting their best available foot forward every single game. And I think that's really fascinating. I think that's a smart move because, as I've said all along, I'm not about that tank life. That's not my interest. I don't want to see the 49ers tank. I do understand the benefit from a draft capital perspective. What I don't like to see, and I don't think the 49ers really want to have, is that losing culture. And I think that's what it creates. That creates a losing culture. I don't believe that guys can all just turn it off and say, you know what, we're going to lose intentionally for the next 3 games or 4 games or 5 games, whatever it would have been, and then just show up in training camp and feel like their integrity is not hit. These guys are going to go out there and they're going to play their best, and that's what I want to see. I want to see the 49ers finish the season in a way that makes you go, okay, all right, they're coming back strong next season. They're going to be a tough team to handle. That's what I want to see. This is a team that has been highly rated versus opponents for a very, very long time now, and is finally starting to face some new adversity this season especially. And now they're going to be tested. They're being tested. How are they going to perform? And then the second thing that kind of I thought was really interesting is how Kyle goes into basically how this is going to affect the rest of the roster, he's going to keep around based on how guys finish strong, based on how guys play when playoffs are basically not on the line. That's telling him a lot about how they take playing football, how they take doing their job, right? That's the language he uses there. So I think that this is going to be a really interesting couple of weeks here, and I think there are good teams, to test the 49ers against, as they're basically now in preseason to preseason, right? They're in their off-season training right now to figure out what they have going forward, as this roster is going to have big changes happening in the offseason, of course. No doubt there's going to be some big changes, especially in terms of contracts getting paid. Hopefully, our favorite players will not be going anywhere. But you know where to subscribe if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on all of it, because we'll be talking about all of it all season, all off season long. So, yeah, that's where my head's at. I know I'm honest about it. Excited to watch the 49ers play against the Dolphins, and we just need to soak up these last couple of games, soak up whatever great, wonderful plays we get to watch from Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga, who are back out there, and hopefully a healthy Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. That'd be fantastic if we could see these players do the kind of performance that they had on defense last week, plus an actually decent offense. That would be nice too. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, appreciate you. Have a fantastic There we go. Saturday. Have a fantastic Saturday.